I gotta update this computer. Sure. Just want to make sure the sound is good. Hold on, let me just hear it for myself. Shalom, shalom. Yep, sounds good. All right, cool. All right. Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. The names that you just heard me say, there are the names that we come in. The name Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, which was given to Moses via the Exodus, the 3rd chapter, via the burning bush. That name will be a memorial unto all generations, so that name does not change. Bahasham means in the name, and who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai. Yah is he, and Hawashai means savior or deliverer. And he is the deliverer of the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. And I want to emphasize that because we'll see essentially how this year goes into. Wasn't really sure what we're going to go into, but I guess the Spirit wants me to touch on this essentially with the names, and that's why I emphasize going into the names, because we'll see what this Genesis group doing, because seeing as how they're changing up the doctrine and things like that. And usually, as we go into the new year, if you ever recognize something usually starts off, right? And when I mean start off, maybe start off is not the right word, but something usually starts off with like a bang. Like the end of 2019 going into 2020, you had the C, right? The thing that shall not be named. Then you had later on the January 6th attack thing, right? That happened on Capitol Hill. So usually when going into the new year, usually things start off a certain way. And you have to understand that we come in the name of Yahweh Bashem Shai. So if anybody out there tries to come in a different name and things like that, they are not true men of the Lord, and they are not prophesying according to they are not coming, let me say it the right way. They are not coming in the right name. The name is important because the name represents who you are, who you're coming in. An example of the 300 movie, right? Those dudes that came in the name Xerxes, they couldn't come in any other name because, like, when you send messengers, like, well, who are you reporting for? Whose name, who do you represent? And we represent Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Lord's willing, the Lord allows us to continue in this. But yeah, just want to start off with that, just, doing a New Year's Eve destruction video with the brother before the New Year's comes in, so-called New Year's, because really the New Year's really starts around the springtime, right? Around that March period, a little bit there, kind of ending into February, around the March period. And like I was saying, how usually going into the so-called New Year, at the end of 2019 to 2020, you had the C, then that January 6th attack. So we'll see what happens with everything that's happening right now with U.S. and Venezuela, Iran as well, Russia included. We'll see what happens going into this new year, or so-called new year. I believe you also said that you had a list of things that happened as well.
Yeah, Combo, real quick, based on your opening statement. This 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Yahawashah, says Jesus in the English, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. So yeah, he emphasized the importance of the names which we have. How would we be receive salvation if we calling on Jesus Christ or God? Those are false names that was preached, given to us. But the Lord said he will return to us a pure language and a pure tongue that we could call on him with one consent. And those names is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, like the brother was going into. Yahweh meaning he is, and Yahweh Shai the deliverer, he delivers. So you got it, bro.
Yeah, so just pretty much gonna flow in the spirit there. Yeah, we could get into it. It's an article you said you had, or is it like a list?
Yeah, it's I went to AI overview and typed in global events of 2025. It says 2025 was a year significant year of significant geopolitical shifts marked by Donald Trump's return to the U.S. presidency, leading to new tariffs and shifting alliances alongside a Gaza ceasefire and escalating conflicts in other regions. Key events include the BRICS expansion, Indonesia joining, major climate events like California wildfires, technological advancements, AI race, Microsoft ending Win 10 support, and historic firsts such as Japan and Namibia getting their first female heads of government and the first successful commercial moon landing. Major cultural moments, including the FIFA World Cup and women's rugby, is if that's any importance. But so like it says, political and geopoliticals, U.S. leadership. Trump began his second term. The ceasefire, which I mentioned, ceasefires and conflicts. An uneasy ceasefire deal was reached in the Israel-Hamas war, while the Russia-Ukraine war continued and new conflicts emerged, including Somali civil war. Poland took over the EU presidency and Indonesia joined BRICS, signaling global shifts. Norway and Canada held federal elections, and Chile had general elections. In the economy and technology, new tariffs impacted global trade while China announced a record trade surplus. Energy, some U.S. nuclear plants were brought back online as the energy landscape shifted. Tech, Microsoft ended support for Windows 10, and the AI arms race intensified. Society and culture, the wildfires in Japan and Namibia, as I mentioned, inaugurated the first female heads of government. Major events is going into sports and a lot of other unimportant events. But like the brother said, um, normally at the beginning of the year, something significant happens. And the brother was mentioning certain other camps. Well, Apostle Tahar already coined 2026 as the year of the apostate and sellouts. And uh, the year hasn't even came in, and one of the biggest scoffers was taken out. I forget his name. It's not even important. But yeah, we're in yet again the season of the Passover as well, and a lot goes down from now till the Passover actually gets here. But you got it up.
So there was a lot that you said there, and they didn't really touch on certain things that I wanted. I mean, they did touch on certain things. I don't want to tell you to reread all that. So mostly just analyzing this year, just looking at it, tensions between America and Russia, that seems to be like something that keeps escalating. And when I mean escalating, meaning that essentially the things that keeps happening between really primarily Russia and Ukraine, really, and as that war keeps happening, America keeps giving aid to Ukraine. That is eventually going to draw America into a war, eventually with Russia, and that goes into Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, right? The matter of fact, we might as well get it. 'Cause I don't want to butcher it actually. So,
What's that up?
could you get Ezekiel 38?
Huh.
Because this is essentially that's going to happen. Matter of fact, before you get that, actually,
Uh-huh.
uh, yeah, get Ezekiel 38. I'm gonna read Matthew 16 real quick, right?
Huh.
Because all these things that are happening in the world right now, you got to see that these are biblical events that are happening that's going to lead to eventually the so-called end of the world, right? Or the world as you know it, which in the Greek that is aeon, which is the age. We're coming into the end of the age of Esau Edom's rule. So I read this here in Matthew chapter 16, and it reads, "The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting, desiring him that he should show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, When it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the time." So seeing all these things, the tensions happening between other nations, Matthew 24, Lords, we could get into, I'm just quoting real quick about the pestilences, the wars and rumors of wars, even going back to, if I'm not mistaken, with when Qasem Soleimani died, how, if I'm not mistaken, they shot off certain U.S. bases and things like that. And I remember when my mother was like, that's Matthew 24. I'm like, oh, really? So, what is that? To quote it the best I can, Second Peter, the third chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Seeing all these things, what manner of person art ye be in all holy conversation and godliness. So you seeing these things happening, what type of mindset should you be in, right? So that's what Yahushua was essentially trying to get. It's like, oh, so you can tell what the weather is going to be like, but you can't see the atmosphere of how the world and things around you is going to affect you. You can't see the signs of the times that things are changing, right? And the brother Ashiar put that weird music video of my grandma got hit by a missile or some weird thing like that. And it's like that's what people are focused on. The Super Bowl's about to come up. Eventually there's not going to be no Super Bowl. There's not going to be no World Cup or whatever other, what is it, the NBA championship and things like that. People could see, okay, I think this team may win the Super Bowl. But you can't see that, hey, things is going to get crazier here in the world.
Got a quick preset. You was finished reading. So like this second Esdras, chapter 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we measure out the time of the world, the times that we're in, the eon, a time period through the prophecies. Scriptures say many righteous men have desired to see the times that you are seeing, and we are those men seeing those times that was written of aforetime. Seeing the prophecies play out. Nearing a few final prophecies and leading to the main one, which is the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. But you got it, bro.
Oh yeah, could we get that Ezekiel 38?
This is Ezekiel chapter 38. You want me to start at the top?
Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Maybe. Let me see. 1 second. Actually, yeah. Let's just start at the top. Yeah.
This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh Shah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
And Gog represents the Russians in this thing, right? That region where Russia resides is where Gog and Magog, or really Gog used to reside, which Gog goes back to Japhet, obviously, but we're not saying that this is Japhet. It's those that reside or are living in that land right now, right? So those that are living in the land right now, which are the Russians, this is speaking to them.
Verse 3. And say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shah, God, O power. Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah. So when it says that he's against them, meaning that, yes, the Lord is raising the Russians up, as it's going to go into. And yes, the Lord is going to use the Russians to destroy his place. But the Lord is also against the Russians as well.
And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
Right. So when you know the history of Russia, at one point you had the USSR, which is the Soviet Union, right? And they were a superpower back then, right? That's where you have things like the Cuban Missile Crisis, if I'm not mistaken, and things like that. But at some point, Russia got, let's just say, quiet, right? Like they used the Russian bear? The bear went into hibernation and got quiet. But now with Putin, the Lord is using Putin and raising back the Russians up. And just like in the past, what do you have, right? During the time like the Cuban Missile Crisis, out of all the nations, the Russians were really looked at as one that was a threat. out of all of them. And you're seeing that same thing. Although, yes, China is being looked at as a threat and all these other nations, but really, who is the main one that is being looked at as a threat? The Russians, Gog right now. And it says what? That, I'm sorry, all thine armies, horses and horsemen, so they're going to have people with them. The Lord is going to create them to be a great superpower, right? If you really look at it, the real two superpowers in the world is America and Russia. It's nobody else. We can continue.
Con. Verse 5, Ezekiel 38 and 5. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with them.
Right. So Persia, which represents today the Iranians, and it also says Ethiopia and Libya, excuse me, which are what
So Persia, which
continents in Africa. Not sorry, not continents. Areas in Africa. So it's telling you who is going to be with Gog. And if you look at the world today, who is with the Russians today? The Persians, which is what? I'm sorry, the Iranians, which are the Persians. So you see that playing out today. So it's showing you that this is happening in real time. This is Ezekiel 38 is happening right now in front of everybody's eyes. You could continue.
Verse 7. Be thou prepared, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Keep reading. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
All right. Matter of fact, let me find out real quick in a different translation, real quick. I believe in a different translation it makes it somewhat more clearer. My bad. If you have anything to say as well, you could go ahead.
No, you good.
Is it the Amplified? Okay, so I'm gonna read that verse in the NLT. Ezekiel chapter 38.
Oh, I got it. Oh, never mind, my bad. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
It says, a long time from now, you will be called into action. See, during the time of Ezekiel, this didn't happen. See, a long time ago, a long time from now. Now is the time that they're being called into action. In the distant future, you will swoop down on the land of Israel, which will be enjoying peace after recovering from war, and after its people have returned from many lands to the mountain of Israel. See, so this is going to happen in the distant future, which is where we're living at, the time that we're living now. You see, this is the time that eventually Russia is going to attack the land of Israel as well as the land of America.
Keep reading.
Yeah, we'll eventually
Yep.
get into some of the point. But yeah, just want to go through this real quick.
What was that, verse 8 I just read?
Yeah.
Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
Right. So when it sits there and says going to the land of unwalled villages, that's talking about America, because this place, when you go into ancient world, what they would have a wall around them, right? If I'm not mistaken, with the when we took over Jericho, it had a wall, and what eventually the Israelites shouted and the wall fell. So that's how the wall represents a defense around the city before you could attack it, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think even Game of Thrones show you that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So what is America's defense system, or what is the current defense system today? was the Star Wars defense system that they have. Those satellites that they have up there to shoot. I think they call it like anti-missile defense system, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah,
one.
kind of. And Trump want to build something similar to what's in Israel. What is it, Golden Dome or something like that? A defense
Yeah,
system, a defense system against incoming attack.
right. So that would be what the wall, but this place is called the land of unwalled villages. Why? Because the defense system. I believe AHSHAWAR went into it a while ago, but I remember he went into an article how essentially the pretty much the defense system of this of America is not up to it's not up to date to deal with the current missile systems that they have today. I did a lesson earlier going into Putin's Oreshnik. I think that's how you say it, and how it could go up to Mach 10 speed and things like that. So it's like the what is that they also have the Satan 2, if I'm not mistaken, Satan 1 and 2 and all that type of stuff. So these things can move at speeds quick, right? I think
Yeah,
they
oh my bad. So
I was gonna say that I think the average time from where they're at to here is about 13 minutes.
yep. And one of them, I think it was the one you mentioned. The speed that it travels, it creates like a plasma around it, which at the speed and altitude, it flies at a lower altitude, and it can't be pretty much detected or intercepted by any type of defense systems. So the land of unwalled villages is America, which is vulnerable to attack. Like earlier this year, remember, it was Russian ships in the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, my bad, the Gulf of America. That's another event. Trump changed the Gulf of Mexico name to the Gulf of America, among a lot of other silly things he did. But as much as America put in this defense system, it's already prophesied that the bully that the bully that it once was, and I think it could continue to be, is going to be vulnerable.
Kind of makes me think of what you call it, to use a movie reference, Rocky 4 with Ivan Drago. If you watched, Rocky's whole plan in that movie was to hit the body, because Ivan Drago ain't really got it like that. He got the long reach because he was tall and he had long arms, so he could keep you at a distance. But if you realize Rocky, he got up in that bike. If you watch at the end of the movie, his body, his around his midsection was red, because
Right.
that's primarily where Rocky was hit. Because
They
really,
call that
got a
they
good
call that
defense.
chopping. I didn't mean to cut you off, but they call that chopping a tree down because he was much taller and bigger than Rocky.
Oh, damn, I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Yep. That's
So that's
a
huh?
boxing reference. You know how we like to use the sports terms, but yeah, that's a reference in boxing to chop down that tree.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm gonna try to remember that. But yeah, if you watch that movie with Rocky, that's essentially like the brother saying he was chopping it. Actually, now that you said that, the dude, what was it? What was his name? Mikey? The little short fat guy. I forgot his name. Not the Jake. But he was like chop him down when he started hitting his body.
Oh
If you
yeah,
ever watch
yeah, yeah.
the movie again. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember he was like chop him down. Actually, that guy was actually an actual boxer. I forgot his name. I think his name was Mikey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. One of his trainers.
I don't think he was a trainer. I think he was like his friend in the movie.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I'm tripping. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he was an actual boxer. So yeah, he probably most likely knows that reference that you're talking about, to chop him down. He started saying that.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what America is going to be. It's going to be chopped down. It's going to be brought down, right, by those missiles. Because what? The defense system that they have is not up to par to deal with these things. And think about it. You're only hearing about what? To show you how that this is really just one-sided, because if you look at America, you're not really hearing about America advancing in their defense systems or their nuclear capabilities. You're only hearing it one side about these other nations, primarily mostly Russia, because it really shows you, if you look at it with a spiritual eye, that this place is not prepared to attack anybody really. Although yeah, we know that they're shooting missiles, but they're not really advancing in anything to be able to attack or be able to defend. But all these other nations are preparing for an offensive and defensive as well.
You remember earlier this year, I think it was North Korea or one of them. They have their military parades. Russia as well. And then they said when America had theirs, they had like Civil War and ancient equipment out there in DC that day. And I remember they shut DC down because I was doing ride share at the moment. But they say the military parade was pretty much a joke, like it was like to celebrate or the 100th year or some type of commemorative day about the military. So they decided to have a military parade to display what they have, and they really, hey, America really is behind when it comes to defense. You know, you got it.
Right. So again, going back to the signs of the times, if you pay attention, you'll see that this is the end of America. This is the end of the road. This is not going anywhere, but just leading to destruction. So again, matter of fact,
I got a preset. Unless you great get some.
yeah, I'll get it after you. It's fine.
Like, this is First Peter 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. See, if they read something like this in church, you know, even when I was in church, I thought the end of the world mean like how that you know that planet spaceship from Star Wars, it just exploded and that was it. I'm in a mindset of the end of the world, like that's it. But no, the end of all things is at hand. The end of Esau's rule, the end of wickedness, unrighteousness, and the beginning of our kingdom, which is the kingdom of heaven, okay, which will be forever. But that's all I got, bro.
Right. I have this here. I quoted earlier, but I want to get it. Let me see where to start. All right, yeah, I'll start verse 10. This is Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night." See, it's going to come as a thief, meaning that it's going to come unsuspecting, because a thief comes when you're not prepared, when you're at rest, right? It even said that, if I'm not mistaken, in Ezekiel, right? Will go unto them that are at rest. This is a place that is, the people here in America are very at ease because they don't think, because we tell them that, hey, this place is going to get hit with nuclear missiles, but they don't think that that could happen, because some of them are of the opinion that they think America is so great, so ain't nothing like that going to ever happen, right? And nothing really has really devastated America except for the event that happened on September 9. If I'm not mistaken, it was like about what, 20, 24 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that's really the only thing that they hold, like, okay, that was a devastation. Really, this place hasn't really been touched. So that creates in your mind that develops in your mind a sense of, oh, we're at ease, ain't nothing gonna happen, ain't nothing gonna touch us. You guys are crazy, but you see everybody, right? Because America does have nukes as well, but all these other nations are also preparing their nukes. So war is no longer like it was in World War I, World War II, where, hey, it's boots on the ground. I'm gonna send my men over into this area and we're gonna duke it out. No, now it's, I'm gonna push the red button, right? Or they have like the briefcase, they open it up, you flip up a couple of switches like they show in the movie, and you push the red button, and that's it. That's essentially what war has become now. Push the button and shoot off something over there.
And drone attacks, fighting from afar in a safe place while they're using what? That's why, hey, that's why they got to make they push the advanced AI, you know, and upgrade the 6G. You know, the war is not going to be with confused noise like it's saying in the scriptures. You know, swords clinging, and like you mentioned, boots on the ground and infantry. You know, first they would send the Air Force and you know begin the groundwork, tearing shit up, and then they would send in the ground troops. But well, this one here is like the brother said, pushing of buttons and lifting of levers. You know, nuclear.
So going back to First Peter, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great sound. I'm sorry, with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. See, right? That great noise is that nuclear destruction. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? And like the brother was mentioning earlier about church, if you read these things and you actually break these down in a church and tell these people that, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Like, what do you mean that? Because people think that who they call Jesus is just going to pop up in the sky, hello, my children, I love you all, and rapture everybody, which I remember mentioning that to brothers. I think it was like after or before we did the lesson earlier this week. The word rapture is not in the scripture, so I don't know where people get that understanding of the rapture from anyways. You can't find the word rapture at all in the scriptures. That's not a biblical or scriptural thing at all. But that's how people think that the Lord's just going to come back and just rapture people up, and then there's going to be the 7-year tribulation, and then I'm not sure what happens from there.
If
No.
you listen to Nate, Esau going to lose and going to be down for a while, and then going to look up from out of a pit and think they can take us out again. These churches from these off Israelite groups, they're like the apostle term, the apostates and sellouts. You're not going to get the true definition, the true breakdowns of the scriptures. You're only going to get it from the like-minded men that the Lord is dealing with, and it's the apostles, great millstone, and like-minded men.
But yeah, that's all I had there on First Peter. Let's go back to that list that you had. Baba Shah, if you could just run through some of them, not all of them, like whichever ones you feel like most important.
God. Back to the global events of 2025. On a political end, Donald Trump beginning his second term, impacting global policy, intense fighting in Ukraine and Sudan, a ceasefire emerged in Israel, Hamas, and the conflict in Gaza.
Right. My bad. Real quick, let's put it right there, because that's, if you could get Baba Shah, Matthew 24, and if I'm not mistaken, 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. Because those things are happening is who everybody likes to say Jesus. Well, so-called Jesus warned you of these things, which his name in the Hebrew is Yahushua. He warned of these things, and if these pastors were actually true men, they would actually warn you, right? Or if you were actually paying attention and you say, hey, pastor, I'm seeing things happen in the world. A lot of these nations going to war. And I was reading Matthew 24, and the Lord warned of these things. Is there any correlation? And he might sit there and tell you, nah, or it's sealed. We don't know. Or you have a demon on you, asking too many questions. It's like, what do you mean? You're supposed to give these people an answer. Tell them what's really going on.
Yeah, they say they pretty much agnostic when it comes to prophecy. That's it. But I got that if you want me to read it. Come on, this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Right. So, my bad. So all these things happen. You're hearing of wars and rumors of war. If I'm not mistaken, sometime this week, Iran said it's in a war with the U.S. and I forgot the other nation that I mentioned. I can't remember, but it basically said it's at war with the U.S. So that's wars and rumors of war right there. Russia and Ukraine. That's a war that's happening. That's how long has that war been going on? For about 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 4. So you're hearing of the same things that are written of in the scriptures happening right now. That should open up your eyes and be like, yo, he's getting close. He's coming back, right? Because the disciples asked him, could you read like the first verse, Bob Shah? What did the disciples ask him? I forgot what it is. This says verbatim.
Yeah. Matthew 24 and 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And he said upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
See,
And
so oh, my bad. No, continue, finish it. My bad.
And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come.
Okay, yeah. That was the point. My bad. But he said what? My bad. Read that part again where it says when they asked him the son.
Verse 3, Matthew 24 and 3. And he said, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
See, the sign of your coming and the end of the world. So these things happening as you go through Matthew 24 are the sign of his coming, the sign of his return. Wars and rumors of wars, right? Pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places, right? The rising up of false prophets. That's the sign of the end of the world. That's the sign of his second coming.
Yep. It's going to get into that. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
Right. So all these things that are happening right now are the beginning of SARS. Think of like going up a roller coaster, right? You know, it's slowly going up there, but once you hit that peak, if you ever been on a roller coaster, you almost feel like before you drop, your heart almost feels like you're scared, like, oh shit. And then when you finally drop, that's when it's like what? The fear and all that, and people start screaming. Well, that's how prophecy is. Climbing right up there to the top, to the peak, and you start to feel like, oh shit, we're about to fall.
Yep,
And then you start falling, and what? The fear comes, and that's how it's going to be.
yep. It said, I'm going to keep reading up to about 14.
Hmm.
It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. See, now we prophesying and we teaching in our respective cities and uploading on the YouTube. You know, we coming into where they're going to ban us from teaching. You know, eventually they're going to want to physically get us off the corners. And hey, some of us may be thrown in jail, and the scriptures also say some of us may not even taste of death. You know, but this is part of the cost that we counted to be in this, and knowing that these things may take place. But when we keep reading, I'm gonna keep reading. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Want to speak
Yeah.
on it?
No, you can speak on it.
Yeah, I mean, we speaking of the false camps and camps taking away the names, you know, taking away certain prophecies, discrediting books that were written by prophets and men of the Lord. You know, all of these things is happening, deceiving many. Hey, but the scriptures say that deceived and the deceiver are his. So if you're deceived by these false prophets, the Lord was never really dealing with you on that level to begin with. So it says, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And we already see families breaking up, you know, parents killing their children, children killing their parents, Jake on Jake crime, you know, even you're starting to see Deuteronomy 30 and 7 a lot across the country, you know, the curse is falling upon the heathen nations, especially Esau. You know, I could say here in Baltimore, I see it a lot, if not on a daily basis.
I'm
It's,
sorry, just my bad. Real
you
quick, I just want to add to your point that we saw earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, like around September and a little bit earlier, how with what you call it, when you read the love of many shall wax cold, right, which goes to psycho, how some people were saying that what they were going to rob each other, women were saying things like that, or they were going to steal from the stores and things like that. What people are getting real cold, real psychotic, right? The
during
love.
when they took away the stamps and everything.
Right, exactly. So we saw that you were getting little snippets, right? Little tastes, right? Like when you go to a restaurant, they give you little appetizers. Or if you ever been like Costco or something, right? They'll have something, they'll give you a little sample, a little
Yeah,
taste.
yeah,
They have
yeah,
all the toothpick and all that, and like, oh, here, taste that. You're like, oh, okay, what's that? And, oh, this is this right here. That's essentially what you were getting. You were getting a little sample of future prophecy of how people are gonna be, right? Even how women were being like that. That reminds me of that Denzel movie where he had what's the name of it? A Book of Eli. How
yeah,
they were
yeah,
using that one woman to pretty much lure men in. Don't
right.
sit there and think, this is just me speaking as a man, but yeah, women are going to get taken advantage of it, but they're also going to be used like that movie as an example to lure certain men. You see a woman out there like, hey, sweetie, why you out here by yourself and things like that? What's going on? And then they got dudes over there in the cut in the bushes just waiting because
Yeah,
that's how it's going to be. It's going to be real cutthroat, real like, yo, whatever you have, I want. They show you that in those movies, The Walking Dead, you scourging for supplies and things like that. Well,
yeah,
hey, if I'm not finding anything, if I'm not finding anything, right? If I run up in the store and there's nothing there, well, that means that somebody must have taken it. he used to say this guy don't got supplies on him or something. Or even if he got clothes, shit, it's getting cold out here. Let me take the clothes off his back for myself. He don't need it, I need it. It's gonna get real cutthroat like that to where people are gonna care about themselves. And that's you were seeing that with women. Right. And just not just women, but other dudes as well. What am I supposed to do if I can't get my food stamps and things like that? I'm gonna just rob whatever. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
things. I don't care.
Yep. Verse 12 again. And because iniquity shall bound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Oh yeah, come. Well, we spoke on the love of many waxing cold. We're seeing that now. But for us, of the hopeful elect, he that shall endure to the end. We have, however long you've been in the truth, I'm quite sure by now you've seen many come and go and fall out. Because ultimately they didn't count the cost enough to finish. And our what's the word? Our objective or what we want to accomplish. Like even some of us, we haven't really finished certain things in this world. Like some of us may not have finished school or finished certain projects, but this is something that you really want to finish. Finish this race. You want to finish it to the end, no matter what, right? But it says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all of the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Well, you have what we doing now, the YouTube, and there's many brothers out doing similar lessons. The so-called New Year's Eve of destruction. This place is New Year, you know. But it's just another so-called 365 days gone down, and more prophecy began. We're getting closer and closer to when Yahweh Shah is going to return. We're seeing all the stage and theater of war being played out. But we know this is the end because what? It's because of the prophecies, man. There's camps and damn on damn near every continent. Some certain places or regions you can't go out there and physically teach, but you have what is called the unicorn, the YouTube. So we in them times, man. We in the world, the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shah is out there. Even YouTube, when you put it on closed caption, is giving you the correct spelling of the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. So hey, the truth is out there. You
But
got
just 2 points. That shows you, number one, that they're paying attention,
yeah,
right? And number two, also just an honorable mention. The brothers from San Francisco, Manasseh Cubans, every time they start off their videos, they would say, "We're one day closer to Esau Edom's downfall, and one day closer to the kingdom." So 365 days pass. We're 365 days past, closer to the kingdom, closer to his downfall. As we get closer and closer to the end, we're only gonna obviously we're gonna get closer and closer to the end, closer to what? Them bringing out the MOTB. Because yeah, although we're talking about World War III and things like that, but that MOTB, that small device the size of a grain of rice, has to be brought out first in some way, shape, or form. However they're gonna bring it out, that has to come out, and then the nuclear destruction is going to be the judgment of America and also the judgment of those who are going to be left here for taking that device, siding with Esau Edom. So, just wanted to add those 2 points right there.
yeah. That was you want me to keep reading on that, or that's it?
No, that was it.
No.
We could go back to maybe get like maybe another point, maybe or maybe two. The list that you have.
Con. New leaders. Japan and Namibia saw their first female heads of government. Global governance. Middle powers gain influence. The G20 met in South Africa, focusing on equality. Terror. Salaki. T. T-isms. Society and culture. A New Year's Day vehicle. Remember that? New Year's Day vehicle attack in New Orleans killed 14. Remember that earlier this year? Yeah.
But I was gonna say, because that list kind of be a little soft for me, because they don't focus on things that we focus. But you almost said that word, and that reminded me of what happened earlier this year of what you call it, Captain Kirk, when he
Yeah.
was
Oh,
taken out.
yeah.
And see, they don't have that on the list, but that is the point because
and that was a major event, you know.
that eventually is going to lead to, if you analyze how they're moving with it, is eventually going to lead to eventually the famine of war. Because what's coming with that? They say that the guy wrote on the bullet, "Hey, fascist," right? So it's they like to target a lot of hate speech. I know you know that if you look at it on the back of the helmets on the decal, it'll have the little like circle stamp or whatever. It'll say "Stop Hate." So
Yeah,
they're getting ready to promote the whole "Stop Hate." Certain things that people believe online, these C theories, is causing people to be hateful and what attack people. They could use the excuse, "Hey, look what happened to Captain Kirk," right? A woman is now a widow. The strong face looking woman that looks all weird. She be trying to look at you all angry, but it's like mad fake. She looking at you like
yeah.
it's like you faking it, right? But
Mhm.
basically from that could come the famine of the word because what? Hey, these certain, as they would call it, misinformation, disinformation is going out there, and these things that these rhetorics that people are saying is now causing people to attack. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a Minnesota church that got shot up as well? That should be there. That was something that happened as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a guy that was. It's a guy, but he's identifies as a woman, if I'm not mistaken, or the other
Right.
way.
Yep. The just
So
recent event over there in Australia on the beach
right.
with the you wish people.
Right. That was another thing I was going to mention. If you, I don't watch TV, but something I've recognized sometimes when I do pass the TV in my crib, or like on, if you watch YouTube, the commercials, there's been a lot of 1948 um,
Yeah,
commercials about, oh, what would you do if a 1948er got hit or something like that? And they have like a woman and she's looking down at the ground. She's like, damn, like everything is about, oh, they're just attacked. But look at the things that happen to our people, right? You had before when Biden was in office, the Asian hate crime bill, if I'm not mistaken, stopped the Asian hate and things like that. But they're showing you that look, they're promoting that, um, they're pushing for that whole hey, if you speak out against these people, if you come against them, it's going to be considered anti semantics. And hey, if you say anything against them, you're going to be labeled as hate speech. And hey, we're going to come against you for the things that you're saying, which is eventually, I'll get it, going to lead to Amos 8 and 11.
God.
I'm sorry.
I found a more thorough list, but it's going through each month everything that happened in that month. So I'm just scrolling through and see if I see something.
Yep. This is Amos chapter 8 and 11, right? And let me be a little bit more thorough as well, because you had Nikki Haley as well that said, I can't remember if it was like this year or maybe the year before, but she essentially said the things of like, oh, well, we want to put a face to these people on social media, right? Because you could just have some type of avatar there, just a picture. It doesn't have to actually be you. And we don't know what you're saying. She wants to put a face, a name, everything there so people can see, okay, John Smith, this is his name, and this is what he posts on YouTube, for an example. And this is how he looks. So everybody can see, family members, friends, everybody, people that know you, your job and everything can see John Smith, your face, and this is what he puts out there to kind of like humiliate you, shame you for the things that you believe, so people could come against you, say, so this is what you believe in. This is the type of stuff that you post out there. You're no longer unidentifiable. Now you're identifiable because it's going to have a name and a face, and these are the things that they want to push out there, right? They're pushing for the family of the word. But this is Amos chapter 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So eventually, you people are going to get your wish. You're tired of hearing us. You're tired of seeing us. Where are you going to get your wish? You're no longer going to hear, right? We're no longer going to be out there on the highways and byways. But when that happens, that leaves you open for what? For Esau, because you're going to be without understanding of why certain things. And when he comes down with great wrath, as written of in Revelation 12 and 12. You're going to be without understanding as to why these things are happening, what's going on, right? When these things happen, then it's going to be like, oh, well, those guys on the corners, they were warning of these things. And guess what's going to happen? Verse 12. And they, not us, right? They, those that didn't want to take heed, that didn't want to listen, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it. Then that's when people are going to want to listen. Then that's when people are going to want to take heed and things like that. But for some, it's going to be too late. Maybe, and that's like walking on very thin ice. Maybe some people the Lord have mercy on, right? But a lot of you know, because a lot of you said a lot of blasphemous things. Just 1 second, Dr. Shah. My bad. 1 second.
You got it. See, as I'm scrolling through this list, a lot of events that happened this year that I even forgot about. You know, even those where is it? Slovakia. Uh, the SpaceX mission, uh, the power outages that we had, um, the earthquake over in Myanmar, 7.7, and that goes into the earthquakes in diverse places. Uh, the strikes on Gaza, the price of gold. You know, Apostle Tar always do his gold reports. You know, the price of gold going up, price of silver, which is all going to lead to that MOTB and the one world currency, and the destruction and the removal of the dollar. You know, certain cities, you go to stores, you can't even they won't even give you correct change sometimes. Like they already did away with the penny. You know, I'm scrolling through these events, and I'm like in April, and you know they got all the sporting events and certain things going on. Oh yeah, April 9th, U.S. President Donald Trump announces reversal of global tariffs, proposing a 90-day pause excluding China. April 11th, China raises U.S. tariffs to 125% in retaliation against Trump, excluding China from the 90-day tariff, uh, from the pause day tariff, increasing China's tariffs 145%. Russian attacking Ukrainian cities. And I'm only in April. You know, I could scroll down and continue to show you the different events. The eventful 2025 this was, you know, the mumps cases, you know, the disease warfare, if you will. But you got it, bro. I'm just still scrolling.
Okay. Did you listen to anything that was
Uh,
I stepped away, so I didn't hear some of the things that you said.
oh, con. My bad. I mentioned the flood, the tariffs, the different strikes on Ukraine and Gaza, um, uh, the power outage we had early this year. You know, the planes that crashed, the shutdown. What's that security agency that be in control at the TSA at the airports? Yeah, 2025 was an eventful year. I'm in May now, as far as the events that happened. Um, Damn it, stop. Okay, page 2. Slide. You can make a point. I'm gonna just keep looking to see if I see something.
Yeah, but just to really, I ain't really got much, but just to really summarize what you're saying, cause from that list, that I'm pretty sure it's like how many pages? Are you on page 2? Does it say like how many pages it has?
Yeah, it's once I get to page 3, it gives you the other tab to get to the rest of the year.
Oh, okay. So you see, that's already, and you said at what point, what month are you at?
Actually in May.
And you're on page 2.
Yep.
So within 5 months, 2 pages, you
Yeah.
still got another 7 months to go.
Yep. Yep.
So it's like just to show you how much has happened. Now, some of that probably in there is going to be BS, and some of the things they're not going to hit on some of the things that we hit. But it
Mhm.
shows you how much can happen in a year. So all these things are happening, and people are not paying attention, seeing that, hey, These are, going back just to quote some of the precepts, the signs of the times. Like I was mentioned earlier with like the thing, if you ever been to like Costco's or BJ and they'll have that woman there or whatever, the worker, and they'll give you a little sample on the toothpick and things like that. For certain things, you got a sample, like just using the thing that happened with the SNAP benefits. That was a sample of how people are going to be, the love of many waxing cold. So you got little snap samples here and there of how things are going to be. But when it really happens, when Jacob's trouble really happens, or as the saying is, when all hell breaks loose or shit hits the fan, it's going to be on a much heightened scale. It's going to be very, very chaotic, right? People are not going to be prepared for this stuff. My bad.
My bad. I'm just waiting for you. I scrolled down. I got because there was a lot of fluff. I got down to June 7th. U.S. President Donald Trump orders deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops to Southern California to quell protests against immigration and customs enforcement ICE sweeps in and around Los Angeles.
Yes, Saki, forgot about, see, but that's how much stuff happens, which shouldn't have forgot about it, but the ICE thing is showing you that what? He's going to come down with great wrath. And think about it. Who is the ICE primarily coming after, right? It's primarily the Northern Kingdom. And like brothers were saying, before the Lord, even in history with like the Assyrians, the Lord came after the Northern Kingdom. And then what happened after? He came after the Southern Kingdom. He used the Babylonians to come after the Southern Kingdom. That's the same thing. As the scriptures say, there's nothing new under the sun. So the Heavenly Father's doing the same thing that he did back then. They came after the Northern Kingdom. And hey, even in history, what happened with slavery? They met up with the Northern Kingdom here first. And then what? They came and got Judah and brought us over here as well, brought the Southern Kingdom. So it's the same thing happening again. So, you know, those, I think they're called foundational Black Americans, if I'm not mistaken. They
FB,
would, FBA, right, FBA. They were thinking that they were safe. No, you ain't safe either. You gonna get touched just as well. I was listening to someone that stuff was happening. They were feeling very proud and thinking nothing was gonna happen to them because they were foundational Black Americans. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Trump was saying, I think he was like at some type of rally or something where he was expressing his love for foundational Black Americans. But don't make no mistake. The same way they came after the Northern Kingdom because we're all the same people. You so-called Spanish-speaking tribes, as well as you Native American Indians, we're all one people. And they're gonna come. They came after you. They also gonna come after the Southern Kingdom as well. You or African Americans, so you're not safe either.
That's right. Hey, July 2nd. This on a distraction side. The Diddy trial or the Diddy allegations began. So in the midst of a lot of important things, you know, they got to throw the distraction in there as well. And I'm in July, so I'm gonna keep scrolling.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh yeah, my bad, Slocky. July 4th, U.S. President Donald Trump signs his One Big Beautiful Bill into law, narrowly passed by Senate 5150 and by House Representatives. Republicans join all Democrats in opposition.
Right. And all these bills, all these laws that they put into place is what to oppress us to eventually, eventually everything's going to lead to the MOTB, that, oh, sorry, I almost said it. That small device the size of a grain of rice that is going to, that they want to put in your hand, or in your right hand or on your forehead. So all things is leading to just a few more prophecies that need to be fulfilled. So again, like it says, what manner of person ought you to be in all holiness, holy conversation, godliness, seeing that these things are going to happen. People are still playing games thinking that everything's going to be sweet, everything's going to be fine, but things is not going to be fine. So Lord's willing, we'll see 2026, what happens this year. Like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this lesson, usually at the beginning of years kind of show you the direction that they want to go in with this type of stuff. Like, again, going back to like with the C at the end of 2019 into 2020, that show you the push for, like, again, even back then there was that little sample of a prophecy, which is what you got to take this thing. And hey, some people were losing their jobs if they didn't take that thing, because slap on the arm.
Yep.
Same thing with the MOTB. Like it says, no man might is going to be able to buy or sell, save or unless you have that MOTB. So that was a little snippet, right? A little sign of things to come. So it shows you
My bad.
how how they want to play out the year.
Yep. July and August. I'm in August now, but the deployment of troops in Chicago and DC. With the so-called fight crime, and that's when those attacks was more focused on Jake, Southern Kingdom, along with ICE doing their thing.
Right. So that's like what I was mentioning earlier, how Northern Kingdom was getting their issue, but then it showed you what? Eventually, you Southern Kingdom, you're gonna get your issue as well.
Yep. September. I'm in September now, and almost every month you had a mention of an earthquake, mudslides, and weather phenomenons. See if I could get up to December. All right, page 3. I think this is the last page. You got it, bro. I'm just scrolling down, see if I see something.
Oh no, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, especially if you're at the
Yeah, I
last
mean,
page.
yeah. I mean, well, we just recently went through these last couple months, and we see what's going on. Like the brother was saying, it's all going to lead up to MOTB and shut down of these cities. And one of the other main prophecies that's to come is the famine of the word. Pretty soon you won't be able to get these lessons, and we say every year, Lord willing, this is the last so-called whatever here in Babylon. The way things is playing out, this could very well be, Lord willing. But that's all I had as well.
Yeah, I'll end it with let me see. I'll end it with this. I know you went into it earlier, but I'll just reread it again.
Sure.
And if you have any points to make on what I'm reading here, you could get into as well. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. It reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, right? And like the brother was saying, we measuring the times by paying attention to these certain prophetic events that happen, so that we can do lessons in order to tell the people, the sheep, and warn them and let them know to keep them up to date on current events. Then shalt thou, verse 2, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And these signs are a sign of the Heavenly Father eventually going to send Yahushua, and eventually him going to visit the world which he made. And he's not going to visit it with goodness. He's going to visit it with evil, because the people of the world primarily have been doing evil. He's going to visit upon his elect with good by deliverances, but those who are not of the elect, and for the other nations, he's going to visit upon them with evil. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, right, like the brothers going into in that article, you were seeing certain earthquakes being mentioned, and uproars of the people, which are certain things that happen. If I'm not mistaken, I think earlier this year there was uproars of the people in France, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So verse 3 again, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Another thing Yahushua mentioned, what is that? Mark 3 and 25. If a kingdom be divided against itself, it cannot stand but hath an end. That's going into civil war. Isaiah the second chapter. I'm sorry, not Isaiah second chapter. Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2. Egyptian against Egyptian. I did a lesson earlier going into how MAGA supporters are pretty much against the 1948ers now, and those who are on the same side as them now. So that's what American events against American now. I'm sorry, what was I getting? I'll read verse 5. It says, for like as all things that is made in the world hath a beginning and end, and the end is manifest. So these things that are happening right now is the manifestation of the end of this world, the end of this age. So there's not going to be two more, eventually, there's not going to be any two more New Year's Eve destruction videos. Eventually, the destruction, the tribulation is going to be here. It's not going to be no more talking about it. It's just going to be in it. It's the same thing like the Super Bowl, right? Just to use that as an example. You got 2 weeks to prepare, but after 2 weeks, the preparation is over. It's game time now, and you're gonna be in it for 4 quarters. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
all.
in the time where people, I think we was mentioning that about Jacob's trouble. I think it was class maybe. Like you'll know when Jacob's trouble here because you're gonna know you're not gonna have to ask, yo, are we in Jacob's trouble? See, right now we in the events leading up to it. Like the brother was mentioning the events leading up to the MOTB and other things. So pretty soon it's just going to be like it's going to be without a doubt the times that we are in. But that's it.
Yep, that's it for me. So all right, yeah,
So
you got it. That's it.
yeah, that's it. So with that, uh, just came out with another video, just like other brothers is doing now, the New Year's Eve of destruction, the so-called end of Esau's calendar New Year, which we know it isn't. But with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. We want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Wachak, Wadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the sincere Shalom, all you Akim, labor in the truth, sincerity, and sound doctrine. Shalom.